Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com for Saturday, April 15th. I'm Tom Leach, along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Mutuals and Simulcasting. We'll take a look at the AllStakes Pick 4 on Saturday, plus the Arkansas Derby. Couple of Derby preps this weekend with the Arkansas Derby and the Grade 3 Stonestreet Lexington here at Keeneland. Jim, let's get started with the 7th race on Saturday. Starts the AllStakes Pick 4, Grade 3 Ben Ally at 1 mile and an eighth. Who do you like?
Well, I have to couch this with there's two horses here that are cross-entered into Friday's stakes race, and Conquest Enforcer and Fermento. And I'm assuming Conquest Enforcer is going to run on Friday because I know the owner's coming in. So I'm going to assume that he's not going to run in this race. Fermento could run either way, but I'm going to take another horse either way, but I'm going to throw Fermento in the mix. I'm going to take Scuba, the 4-horse exiting the Breeders' Cup Day Marathon at 1.5 miles and cutting back in distance to 1 mile and an eighth, where he is 2 for 2 or 2 for 2 in the money. Ascending Buyers before he had a little layoff after the Breeders' Cup, got him rested for this, had one trip at Keeneland and ran a 90 buyer, just got beaten in an optional $80,000 claimer. So I think he fits well here. Really ran well and at Santa Anita and got a lot of steam there. I think he was like 6-1 morning line, went off at 2-1, had a 100 buyer, won by 4 1/4. So I think Scuba is going to be the favorite here, and I would not have a problem in playing him in the pick 4. Birdsong, the 6, comes off a couple races at Gulfstream that would certainly put him in the mix here, the How's Hope and the Hooper, but never has been 1 mile and an eighth, never has been past 1 mile. So I've got a big question mark for Ian Wilkes' Birdsong here, even though he's got a lot of talent. Conquest Enforcer and or Fermento could be in the mix if they run. The other horse that I thought might have a shot but really don't like the form he's in right now is Eagle, coming out of a couple fairgrounds races where he disappointed in Grade 2 New Orleans handicap at the Grade 3 Mineshaft. So I don't really like Eagle here, and although he might get some support. And the Watershed for Garen McLaughlin could get in the mix. He finished 9th in the Mac Diarmid at Gulfstream, but only got beat 2 lengths by Wake Forest. Wake Forest in here would be a 2-5. So I think I'm going to use those 4 horses with an edge to Scuba, the 4.
I'm going to use Birdsong for the win here, and it may help you or give you some more ammunition if you want to give him even more consideration on that 1 mile and an eighth issue, because I talked to Ian Wilkes for one of the interviews that's up on Keeneland's social media, and he said he thinks this horse is going to love 1 mile and an eighth. He's wanted to run it 1 mile and an eighth, and it hasn't worked out, and he thinks that Birdsong is going to love 2 turns and 1 mile and an eighth. So once I heard that, I kind of liked the horse. I don't know if I would have picked him to win, but after that interview with Ian, I decided to go for Birdsong. Scuba, I got to use on the ticket, certainly. I think he's the one to beat. I would have picked him if not Birdsong. Eagle, I'm with you. I'm not real wild about his current form, but he likes Keeneland, so I'm going to throw him on the ticket. And then Watershed I'm going to use as well. So 6 is the win pick for me, but I'm going to use him with the 4, 2, and 3 in exactas and use all 4 of those in the pick 4 when we get to that point. 8th race is the Giants Causeway at 5.5 furlongs on the turf for fillies and mares. You got Lady Aurelia here as a 3-year-old taking on Elders early in the year, and she is ultra talented, but because she is only 3, I'm going to try and beat her with Exaggerated, who's 1 for 1 here, and Arnaud Delacour is 31% off this kind of long layoff. And I thought this horse showed some good bit of talent last year. So I'm going to take Exaggerated to upset Lady Aurelia. Ruby Notion, Triple Chelsea, Rapid Rhythm are others worth considering in here. How about you?
I'm going to try to beat Lady Aurelia, too. I'm really anxious to see her run, though, because Wesley took her to England and France and was very impressive over there by winning a Grade 1. But she's off a layoff September 24th. She might not be cranked up, but as soon as I say that, Wesley does get him cranked, especially with his 2-year-olds. I'm assuming that carries over to an early 3-year-old. So she's got a big shot in here, but I'm going to try to beat her with Triple Chelsea. Alvarado rides for Anthony Grant, who's a very light trainer, but she was outside post last time out and got beat by a length and a half by my third choice, Pretty Perfection, who got a really good trip. And I think Triple Chelsea gets a better trip here from the 2-hole. and may be able to track the speed of Ruby Ocean and Lady Aurelia. So I'm going to take Triple Chelsea on top, and we use Lady Aurelia, the 7 below. Use your horse Exaggerated, and I'm going to use Pretty Perfection for Kelly Breen. I think she's impressive at Gulfstream, and you always talk about the Gulfstream form. She won 3 in a row, 5 furlong races down there at various levels, including a $125,000 stakes race. So I think Pretty Perfection is right there, but I'm going to give Triple Chelsea the nod to get a better trip here. So the 2 over 4, 7, 10.
I will say when it comes time to actually betting the ticket, I may have to include Pretty Perfection too. I didn't like the post, and she seems to be focused more on 5 furlongs than the longer distances. This one's a little longer, so but she's got very good recent form. It's an excellent point. Grade 3 Stonestreet Lexington is the 9th race. Who you got there?
Well, you talk about it being a Derby prep, but I know that Marty McGee wrote in here, nobody's got enough points to get to the Derby.
Yeah, there'd have to be some defections for the winner of this race to get in.
Yeah, but, I mean, obviously they want to win this race. It's grade 3. It's $200,000.
And sometimes it's been a Preakness prep.
Shot.
Preakness prep sometimes.
Yeah, it is, and that makes sense. But even if somebody gets the 10 points for first place here, that could get them into the bottom half of the Derby because you never know what happens in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to take West Coast here for Bob Baffert and Gary West. Pratt comes into ride. The horse obviously had a late start. Didn't make his first start till February 18th. Came back on March 12th and ran a nice race at 1-20. So he wasn't really a secret when you got Baffert and West that as a combination, and Martin Garcia was riding there. So I think West Coast looks like he's got the most talent in the race and has the most upside. Time to Travel, the 5 for Michael Matz, had a couple of good races at Gulfstream at 7 furlongs and stretches out to a mile and 16. So I got to use him with Edgar Prado. No Dozing has the most class in the race coming out of the Tampa Bay Derby, grade 2. Got beat by 6.5 by Caprit. Lost to McCracken in the Sam Davis, and lost to Motown and lost to Classic Empire. So No Dozing has taken on 4 of the best 3-year-olds and has not disgraced himself. Got within 2.5 of Motown, got within 4 of Classic Empire. So I think you got to use No Dozing as well. West Coast is my pick here. I would use No Dozing the 4, Time to Travel the 5, and probably Super Tap It for Mark Cassie, who's not really raced at this level, but Cassie gets him ready, and there's a lot of upside there as well. So that would be my 3 or 4 picks there with West Coast at 10 on top.
Yeah, I'm going to take West Coast as well, just the Baffert angle. There's no standouts in here, and Baffert certainly is dangerous when he ships. And it's a horse by Flatter, and Flatter Offspring. Jeremy Plunk has noted this in his column at Keeneland.com under the Expert Picks tab that Flatter Offspring do well on the Keeneland main track. So give me West Coast. Time to Travel, I think, has got to be considered, too, off a real impressive win last time. Resiliency with the speed and the rail, I thought was intriguing, and No Dozing just off the class angle I got to include, even though the recent form's nothing to write home about. 10th race is the Grade 1 Coolmore Jenny Wiley, and a good field here. Who did you land on?
Yeah, it's got 3 Grade 1 winners in here, and one of my favorite fillies is Catch a Glimpse, but I think she's up against it here with Lady Eli. Lady Eli has been off since the Breeders' Cup, only lost by a nose to Queen's Trust. It's just a very tough beat right there. No reason to go against her here, I don't think, other than if you think she might not be ready off the layoff, but she's run well off layoffs before, and the worst running line in her last 9 races is a second by 3/4 of a length in the Boston Spa at Saratoga. So she's going to be there. The distance suits. She's 1 for 1 at Keeneland. Chad Brown and Irad Ortiz, I can't find a reason to really go against Lady Eli in here. Time and Motion intrigues me a little bit because she ran so well at Keeneland last year in the QE2 and won that over Harmonize and Catch a Glimpse. And she got better at the right time last year. She was a little bit behind Catch a Glimpse, but caught up at the end of the year. Came back in the Matriarch in December and didn't run as well as expected against Miss Tipple City. They let her rest a little bit. She's going to be ready off a layoff, I think. The other fillies in here, Dickinson from McLaughlin has done really well at Gulfstream and Tampa this winter, so I think you got to give her a shot. But Lady Eli is going to be my key in here in the pick 4. I'm going to take a stand with her, I think, and then guess that she's going to be ready to win the Jenny Wiley.
My pick's Lady Eli as well. Just too much class there, and has a good work on the turf here at Keeneland. I will say that Catch a Glimpse may be a little better than recent form looks. I talked to Norm Cassie, the assistant trainer, and he said that he thought maybe she had lost a step after that last race, but he said the last work convinced him that she was back on her game, and so second off the layoff, I think she can run an improved race. I'm just like you. I don't think she's quite good enough to beat Lady Eli. Dickinson and Time and Motion are the other ones I would consider, but we'll get to the pick 4, AllStakes Pick 4, and I'm going to do like you. I'm going to single Lady Eli. So in the first leg, I'm going to take all 4 that I mentioned, starting with Birdsong, so 6, 4, 2, 3. I'm going to use 5 horses, maybe even 6 in the Giants Causeway. Exaggerated, Lady Aurelia, Ruby Notion, Triple Chelsea, Rapid Rhythm, and Perfect Perfection I think probably should throw in as well. 9th race, I'm going to use West Coast, Resiliency, Time to Travel, and No Dozing. So that's 4 by 6 by 4 by 1 with Lady Eli the single. How about you?
Similar ticket. I'm going to use 4 horses in the first race with Eagle the 2, Watershed the 3, Scuba the 4, and Birdsong the 6. And then I might, since I've got a single Lady Eli, I think Giants Causeway is as wide open as we've got here. So might even go an all ticket here because I think I can afford it since I'm singling Lady Eli. So if you go all there, that's 12 horses. And then in the Stonestreet Lexington, I'm going to stick with 2 of them. No Dozing the 4 and West Coast the 10, back to singling Lady Eli. So that's a $48 ticket, and you got an all-burger in the second leg, hoping to catch a price.
And one other race we want to look at is the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby out at Oaklawn Park on Saturday, and it is their 11th race. You got Classic Empire, who needs minimum a top 4 finish to assure a spot in the Derby, maybe even to be assured a top 3. And he's had a rough 3-year-old year. Do you think he gets back to his best form in the Arkansas Derby?
Well, I don't think he's going to get back to his best form. I think Classic Empire has the same plan as McCracken did in the Bluegrass. I think he's not going to be at 100%. I don't think these Derby horses, when they miss training and when they miss scheduled races, you cannot expect them to come back and run at the top level they need to win a race like this. I do expect him to run well enough to get the money, but there's too many question marks, and I would not play him as a win pick. Irish Warcry, who beat him in the Holy Bull by 8 lengths, did come back and win the Wood Memorial. So there is a lot of class here, and the horse is obviously a top Derby contender if he had not missed training and he had not had these hiccups. But because of the hiccups, I'm not going to pick him to win. Malagasy, the obvious favorite off Grade 2 Rebel Win. Does he move forward off 1 mile 16th stretch out? Possibly to a mile and 1/8. I would think he's going to be the favorite. I don't like the post position 12. And I'm going to throw out something here. This has been a crazy Derby prep season. I mean, we had a maiden win the Bluegrass. You had a horse that won a Wood that got trounced the time before. So I'm going to say, why not look at a horse? Doug O'Neill got IRAP ready for the Bluegrass and has him in the Kentucky Derby. Why not look at Rockin' Rudy? I mean, why not look at a 6.5 furlong prep down the hill at Santa Anita, getting them ready for the Arkansas Derby? That makes as much sense as anything else has this year. So I want to take a shot on Rockin' Rudy. He ships him in. Gutierrez comes with him. Horse has some obvious talent. Whether he takes to the dirt at Oaklawn or not, who knows? But in this crazy year, I think you might get a price on him, and I'm going to take a shot. So Rockin' Rudy, Malagasy, and Classic Empire are my choices in the Arkansas Derby, 1 to 12.
I am going to take Classic Empire for the win, just off a vote of confidence for the confidence that I see in trainer Mark Cassie. He just seems to be beaming about this horse. And it's 2 things, that and the fact that I'm not real wild about any of his challengers. Malagasy I would have to include in the mix, but I'm not real wild about winning at 9 furlongs from the 12 hole for that horse. So I'm going to take Classic Empire and use him in exactas with the 9 Untrapped, the 3 Silver Dust, the 7 Sonneteer, and the 4 Petrov. I think probably all of those but Untrapped will be really good prices. So if Classic Empire finishes second to any of them, the exacta ought to be nice. So I'll just play exacta boxes with those. But I'm going to go Classic Empire to win the Arkansas Derby. Now back to Keeneland, the AllStakes Pick 4. There's a $300,000 guarantee on the Saturday card. Best of luck with your wagers. For Jim Goodman, I'm Tom Leach. Remember, no racing on Easter Sunday, so after the Saturday card, back at it next Wednesday. This is the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.